Alright guys, so after doing the Selene blaster, I decided that I needed companion pistols for it, and since I love dual-wielding hammer shots so much, I figured I would love dual-wielding Rebel hammer shots even more, because they have that ultra-sleek profile that should lend themselves very well to Selene-themed pistols. So, without any more talking about it, let's make dual Underworld guns. Alright guys, so you can see for the Underworld pistols that everything's coming along nicely. I chose these blasters specifically because the top is a deep purple and the handle here is a kind of dark gray with a deep purple belt loop attachment, and then the priming mech as well as the trigger and the barrels are all a UV blue with a little bit of that same dark purple. So the only part that really needs to be painted to fit in with the theme is this white part, which coincidentally has all of the goofy logos on it and all of the warning labels, which means that this should be a relatively simple and clean paint job with none of the moving parts having any sort of tack to them. So as long as we do it up in enamel, give it a good few days to cure, this should be very, very nice and complement the Selene Raven very, very well. So without any more talking about it, I'm going to get to sanding, prepping, and painting all of these white shell pieces. So I have completely isolated and de-stickered the shell pieces, and now I'm doing one of the more important mods, which is I'm coming in and you can see I'm taking snips and I'm removing all of these barrel posts from the cylinder, which just makes airflow a little bit smoother, and then most importantly lets you chamber any kind of darts, including homemade darts. So that should be a notable improvement for these pistols, and as a special bonus, these work as great epoxy stirrers, so I like to keep them as well. So like all of my paint jobs, the first step is just a complete sanding and wash and drying. So these have a very nice chalky finish to them, which is good because it'll let my enamel paint stick very well. I'm going to let that enamel paint job cure for a good 3 days, and then I'll probably come in and top coat it with a lacquer or a clear coat of some kind so that it matches the Selene. Just check that out. That color is awesome. I can't wait to see these in 3 days when I can start working on them again. So here they are, guys. These are the finished Selene pistols, and they are just too cool. I wanted to do a close-up on one. You can see that I have a very smooth, kind of purplish enamel finish, and it's just solid. There's no scratching or dinging enamel paint. It's just too cool. And then we left the orange tip for safety. The blue and the purple on the blaster originally blend into this color scheme really, really nicely. The gray from the handle is left. There's very subtle UV blue detailing done in these kind of dots on the blaster. And then everything was just locked down, and I came in and with purple ABS thread I threaded on some black leather to the handles, and that makes them very comfortable and very nice. I like that a lot. I'll probably do it on some other blasters in the future. Down here there is a UV blue signature that's hidden by the leather wrapping, but it makes them very, very comfortable and very cool. I like how that turned out a whole bunch, and as I mentioned, there are two. They are dual pistols. They're exactly identical. The leather actually came from a coat that I bought at Goodwill. To put that into perspective, hobby shops sell leather like this for about $30 for a couple of square feet, whereas you can buy a whole coat for $5 at a thrift store. So definitely, if you're going to start leather wrapping your Nerf blasters, be sure to pick it up on the cheap, because you can get quality leather at Goodwill pretty easily. So the blasters are, of course, functioning just the same as they were. They are very nice, and I like them a lot. They're super duper smooth, and they're an excellent complement to the loadout for the Selene Raven. If you haven't seen that yet, I will put a link to that description there. If you want to see the loadout in its entirety, the Draculina wants to model it almost cosplay-esque, and I'll put a link to that over here. When that video goes live, that should be at least a few days, probably a week from now, before we can get that one finally edited and up. But those are the Selene pistols. They're very, very cool. The leather wrapping was a nice new touch that I think is really neat. And all in all, thanks for watching, guys.